Under the Gun is a documentary produced and narrated by Katie Couric and directed by Stephanie Sojcik, exploring controversial ideas about the gun rights reform, in particular the need for universal background checks. These ideas are explored in detailed, informative ways to shock viewers into questioning why nothing logical has been done to reduce gun violence in America.
I don't think anyone who studies this issue suggests that background checks would single-handedly stop mass shootings or stop the kind of daily gun violence that we have going on in the country. But it's viewed as a key issue in terms of moving toward reducing gun violence.
America is absolutely awash with easily obtainable firearms.
The opening scene eliminates views of biased opinion by stating that background checks will not eliminate gun violence. Mark Froman, the director of the National Affairs, highlights that this is a key stepping stone towards reducing gun violence. Shortly after, a montage of guns at a local store is shown to allow us to realize the abundance of guns for sale that are openly kept and readily available.
You can go down to a gun show at the local convention center and come away with a fully automatic assault rifle without a background check and most likely without having to show an identification card. So what are you waiting for?
You know your background check system.
This scene features a short clip where the Al Qaeda points out the ease in obtaining these guns. This positions the viewer to feel vulnerable to terrorism and are readily supplying people capable of such ill motives.
Even when Al Qaeda makes a video pointing out how easily attainable guns are in the U.S.
One of the issues that's come up a lot in the last few years is that anyone who is on the terror watch list is not prohibited from buying a gun.
How do you feel about the fact that a person on the government's terror watch list can't board a plane but can legally buy a gun? Say that again.
If you're on the terror watch list? I actually didn't hear that.
How do you feel about the fact that a person on the government's terror watch list can't board a plane but can legally buy a gun?
This shocking statistic causes the viewer to react in a worrisome manner, as it indicates that they are arming men who should not be allowed to have guns in the first place. The use of interviews with the NRA members allows us to realize how oblivious they are to what they are supporting. They had expressed that people on the terrorist watch list should not be allowed to buy guns as well. This scene just further accentuates how detached the NRA members are to what they're supporting.
Yeah, that's a good one. I don't think he should be allowed to buy a gun if he's on a terrorist watch list.
I think anyone who's on the terrorist watch list should not lose their Second Amendment rights without the ability to challenge that determination. I did not want to make that the basis to take someone's Second Amendment rights away.
Thousands on the government's terrorist watch list bought firearms in the last decade.
So you're allowing people on the terror watch list to buy 100-round ammunition magazines, AR.
This scene makes use of somber background music and a mundane mood to position the viewer to relate to the depressing tone that's trying to be created here.
15s, and stockpile these weapons if they so desire.
I think there is that line of thought that it's better to allow that person to get a gun than in any way infringe on anybody's rights to own or buy a gun. And I disagree. I think if you're a domestic abuser, you're a felon, you're dangerously mentally ill, we should make it as hard as possible for them to get a gun. They shouldn't be allowed to buy guns. They currently aren't under federal law. But we have loopholes that make it easy.
Beyond the gun show loophole and easy access to firearms online, there's another gaping hole in the current system. Since 1998, over 2 million gun purchases have been stopped because the buyers failed a background check. But millions of sales have slipped through the cracks simply because of time. Most background checks take 90 seconds to complete. If something is flagged in your form, the FBI has 3 days to see if there's something legitimate prohibiting you from buying a gun. The problem is there's no central computerized database. so it's common for it to take more than 3 days for the FBI to determine if a background check failed. If the FBI can't sort it out in 3 days, the gun sale goes through by default.
There are a lot of records in the criminal background check system that take more time to actually determine whether the person who was charged with something was actually convicted.
This infographic and shocking statistic exposes the incompetence of the system. This issue is highlighted in the text through the use of documentary conventions, infographic, montage, archive, and actuality footage via a hidden camera, which positions the viewer to feel an astonishment and lack of control in America.
To date, over 1 million background checks have exceeded the 3-day window, allowing more than 50,000 guns to be sold to prohibited buyers, including the mass shooter in Charleston, who killed 9 people in a church.